proud to represent Jasmine Eiland, who is bold enough and brave enough to come forward today to stand up for not just herself, but the rights of women across this country. We have filed a lawsuit today against Gray Hospitality, who does business in the city of Atlanta as Opera Nightclub, literally right around the corner. Now, why is a lawsuit here? Well, we tried to reach out to Opera Nightclub without a lawsuit. We wanted to handle this civilly, peacefully, see if there was any way we could just talk. An idea I had was doing a Me Too event at Opera Nightclub and avoiding a lawsuit, seeing how this can get resolved. But what we were met with is silence. We were ignored. None of my phone calls were returned. None of my emails were returned. None of our letters were even returned. They did not have the decency to even apologize or reach out to Miss Eiland. So if that's the case, then we're going to file a lawsuit. Especially when we had so many people that worked at Opera or were there that night reaching out to us, telling us what really happened that night. And what happened is shocking. A very experienced ownership group based out of Vegas has taken over Opera. And from what we hear and what we have reason to believe from our investigation, they had 1/4 the amount of security personnel working on the night of this incident. And this wasn't just a club night. This was a large concert by an international megastar. And they only had 1/4 of the security guards working. Now, is there a problem with it being a hip-hop event? They not care? We'll find that out. But we know for a fact all of the security guards were not working, were not paid to work, and they knew this ahead of time because the tickets were pre-sold. Which is why they didn't have the security guards who monitored the crowds to see who's intoxicated or who's out of control and removed. Which is why they didn't have the security guards to stop this assailant from taking Miss Eiland to an area that was closed and assaulting her again. People are only looking at the first part of the videotape. Miss Eiland was attacked twice. We have video proving that. So it wasn't just negligence, which is the basis of most lawsuits. This was reckless indifference. This was callousness. This was pure carelessness for patrons in the city of Atlanta on Hip Hop Night. How would you keep your club open or decide to go ahead with a concert knowing you're understaffed? Knowing the dangers that it could put the patrons in. But Opera did it anyway, and then didn't even want to talk afterwards. Updates on the case so far. Mr. Williams was arrested. He is currently in jail. He was arrested for aggravated sodomy. As many of you have seen, because of the bravery of Miss Eiland coming forward, another alleged victim has come forward and said that she was assaulted in the past by this same individual. Has text messages to prove it, where she's arguing about being raped and being drugged. It's the bravery of Miss Eiland that is allowing other people to come forward. What really has hurt and has been an uphill battle in this case, but we've bravely taken it on, Miss Eiland has bravely taken on, is what internet trolling and what victim shaming can do to somebody. It drove Miss Eiland almost to the point of taking her life. When you look online and all you see is people shaming you, blaming you, and saying you wanted it, and things like that. But we didn't allow that to happen. And Miss Eiland said she was going to come forward and stand up and thank the women that have stood up for her, and the men that have stood up for her, and the celebrities that are now coming out and standing up for her. Because this has to stop. Believing a woman waiting for the evidence, that's fine. But trying to attack someone and shut them up, that's not going to happen. Miss Eiland does have a few words before we continue.
Before I start, I do want to say that I don't want to address any of the details of the night in question. I do want to thank all of my supporters and all the other women that's come forward that alleges any sexual assault involving the same gentleman. And as far as the victim shaming and the bullying, just want to let you guys know that I won't tolerate it. I'm not going to put up with it. And that I'm going to continue to fight. I'm a victim, but I'm a survivor as well. Just want to thank everybody.
To clear up a few facts in the situation, because that is what the typical basis is, where people run off with things that they have no idea what's going on. They're totally wrong in their assessment of the facts. Let me show you one, actually a few things. Everyone has questioned how was it that Miss Eiland was able to hold on to her phone while this is going on. It must have been made up. Who would hold on to their phone? As you'll see, her phone has a lock on it. It has a grip around her finger. So while she was filming the incident, she couldn't drop her phone. She wasn't holding on to it for the fun of it. It was hooked to her hand, which is why it's everywhere filming and the video moves around. It's looped to her hand. The police also have possession of this. People have looked at the video of her dancing and screaming and things of that nature. What they didn't realize, if you slow it down, there are definite times where Miss Eiland is fully incoherent. Eyes rolled to the back of her head, and then she's assaulted. This wasn't some willing participant agreeing with what was going on. If you watch the video and you slow it down, you can see she has totally lost consciousness at large parts of this incident, which allowed this to happen. As you'll see here, which was a major violation by the club, the assailant was allowed to carry her away to a back room. You'll see this is him carrying her through the crowd, fully tucked as she's passed out, carrying her away. Now, per club policy, and per every standard in the industry, security intervenes if a person is too intoxicated or drugged or inebriated. They take possession of the person. You don't carry someone out of a club. But yet, this was allowed to happen because they did not have security there. That's the failures of this club. That's the failures of this club. And lastly, once again, to get this situation off of everyone focusing just on the dance floor scene, this, ladies and gentlemen, we've had it professionally subtitled, is the back room in opera on their patio, which you are not supposed to be in. This is not on the dance floor. This is in a dark room in the patio area, which we've already talked to former employees that you're not supposed to be out there. At the end, you'll hear someone come running out there saying, "Hey, stop." Unknown man finally comes and says, "Stop." This is not on the dance floor. This is where he carried her to afterwards. I saw his statement saying he carried her to her seat. That's a lie. He carried her to this darkened area where we also have reason to believe the security cameras weren't working. So thank God she was on Facebook Live. So it was 2 incidents, not just the dance floor situation. So that's the danger of the club. Everyone wants to say, oh, you're just looking to see somebody. That is not accurate. I'm looking to prevent this from happening to another young lady or young man in this city again. Because if you don't have security at the club watching where people are drinking, where people are having fun, when does the next guy just pick up some young lady, carry her into a room, and sexually assault her?
True. Very
if
true.
security's not there doing their job.
Very true.
But I guarantee you after this lawsuit, security will be picked up, not only at Opera, but at all of these clubs.
That's right.
There's absolutely no way this should have happened. I've had employees call me bursting in tears, screaming that this should not have happened. But they knew security was inadequate. But yet, hey, it's hip-hop night. Oh, it's R&B night. It doesn't matter. What matters in the city of Atlanta? And I understand it's a new group that just bought Opera, based out of Vegas. Doesn't matter. That's not how we operate in this city. You will have the same type of security you have at the other types of events. Or don't have the concert. Other than that, any general questions?
When did the new company take over?
3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
When you said 1/4 of the security was working, is that 1/4 that was required or 1/4 that normally works?
Both. We've talked to people in the industry that know exactly how many security guards should be working, especially for a concert where you should have increased security. August Alsina is a huge draw. Pre-sold tickets. And for you to have a handful of security guards when it takes at least 4 to work one door is pure insanity.
Who determines that? The number needed.
The amount of the crowd, the size of the plug, exits, entrances, pat downs. On an average night, that club probably has 16 guards working. I can tell you that was missing.
How many that night?
I'll have them answer that question for you.
In that city law, that the ratio from patrons to security, or is that?
Industry standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just industry.
Industry standard.
There's no city law.
Okay.
So tell me what you all allege happened here. Did Mr. Williams drug Miss Eiland? What happened?
We're still waiting on the toxicology report. Which was another rumor that she didn't go get a rape kit or blood drawn. She did. She got it done in St. Louis, so of course they have to send it down to APD. APD has to send it to GBI. I do want to salute APD. They have done a phenomenal job investigating and working this case. APD has been phenomenal. The detectives that have worked this case are probably some of the best detectives I've worked with on any sexual assault case, with the evidence that they're trying to find, with the work they're putting into it, and working in conjunction with Paul Holland's office. And we're still waiting an announcement on the charges for the other victim that came forward.
So tell us what she was doing that night. Was she by herself? And did she know him?
No, she did not know him. She was in the club for her birthday, celebrating. As you can see, if you watch the full videotape, she went from coherent, having fun, to having a drink that he kept talking her into having, to being out of it. We also have a video from a friend of hers that arrived after, who says and confirms, girl, you said that he raped you. A lot of people are saying she didn't say anything about this for a long time. We have a video from her friend who says she did say something that night. So this is really just about clearing up a lot of the false lies that the internet trolls are using to try and get her shut up. We are following some leads that a lot of this has come from affiliates of the assailant to try and get her to be quiet.
So, Chris, I want to make sure I got the timeline. When she left Opera that night, did she head straight to St. Louis? Was he conscious? You know what I mean? Like, when did she go to the hospital? Was it the next morning? Well, I guess it would be that day, just later on.
Yeah, it would be the next day.
The next day, okay.
So she went to the hospital in Atlanta or St. Louis?
St. Louis.
The next day?
The next day.
Does she know the other victim that stepped forward?
No, victims have been reaching out to both her and I. No, I won't be representing anything. But they've been reaching out, and we've just forwarded that information to the proper authorities. One of the individuals that did reach out actually has gone and filed an official police report. And a full investigation is taking place in that incident where she alleged she went out, had just 2 drinks with them, and woke up and had been assaulted.
Ms. Eiland, can you talk about coming forward and how you came to that decision to come forward? I mean, typically news organizations don't name or show the face of alleged sex crime victims. This is a pretty bold step you're taking. Can you explain your train of thought as to coming forward?
Now or
Yeah.
well, it did take a while, and I figured that had I not come forward and put my face forward, what would the next woman do? I can't say that this won't happen again, and I can't say that it will, but I know that I don't want to be the face of sexual assault. Let me clear that. But I would like to be the face for the next woman that gets assaulted. She needs to know that it's okay to stand up against cyberbullying. It's okay to stand up against victim shaming. And so that's what ultimately gave me the courage to stand up and go publicly.
Can you tell us what, we saw that you just got upset and walked out, and trust me, we're not here to, we don't want that to happen, but can you just explain why?
I've been kind of living under a shell. I've been under a rock. Chris and Josh have been so good with making sure that I'm staying out the media, that I'm not in comments, and I've been following that. So, hearing the details just kind of made me relive everything. Yeah. So,
what do you want to see happen after you made this courageous step to come forward? What's your ideal situation?
I'm sure there's other victims out there, not even related to this case, but just period, who doesn't have the courage or hasn't had the courage to stand up and say, hey, me too. And so ultimately that's the goal. It's okay to come out and say, you're a victim of this as well. And maybe we can be survivors together.
Would you have filed a civil suit if the club would have done a Me Too event with you? Would you file a civil suit after that?
Well, that's been our decision. I said that lawsuit, all the legal questions would have been our avenue.
So, Chris, what are you asking for in the suit exactly? What are you hoping to reach with them?
Number one, we want to find out why this happened. I just can't fathom why you would have a huge, massive concert with a handful of guards when you normally have quadruple that amount. What if there had been a shooting or a fight inside or a fire or anything? How many people would have died? And then what? Just, okay, well, guess we didn't have enough guards. But you knew ahead of time how many guards were coming. You knew ahead of time this was a big planned, massive concert. And we've heard this is not the first time that they started having staffing issues or security issues. I want to know why they don't care and what would be the remedy for that. Hip-hop events or R&B nights at clubs will not be treated any differently than the big mega EDM or alternative nights. It's just not going to happen. Not in this city.
Was a plan to fly out to St. Louis the very next day was already planned? Next day you flew to St. Louis?
I drove.
Was that planned?
Not immediately, no. I sat for a while. And I decided to get on the road after. I wanted to go.
So does she live in Atlanta or St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
One more question. You said something very striking earlier about that employees have come crying basically to you guys and said, this never should have happened. Can you just go elucidate that a little bit for us?
Yes, there have been big staffing problems since, I guess, new management or new ownership has taken over. And there's been major issues with how many security guards or how many staff are working. It's not just an issue with security. Even if you are having people work in the VIP area, which is where they were dancing near, there would have been, if the club was fully staffed, VIP hosts or VIP employees near the area that would have seen that girl looks like she's half unconscious. I hear someone next to me say he effed her to sleep or did X, Y, and Z. Let me get security. A coat check person would have seen a man carrying a little girl out into the patio and would have said, hey, security, you need to go here. It's kind of hard to do that when you don't staff it. But, like I said in the beginning, they chose profits over protecting, the people of Atlanta. And that's fine, but this is the last time that'll happen.
All right, there y'all have it. That's the live video of Jasmine Eiland, and that's her legal team right there. They're representing her, and they showed a portion of the footage that most of us did not see, and that was the footage of the back room situation where he actually was raping her. Maybe it wasn't rape. Maybe it was alleged aggravated sodomy, where he was doing something to her, and that's for sure. And she clearly was saying, "Stop it." But again, this was a third piece of footage that wasn't out there virally, or if it was, they removed it and you couldn't see it. So here you guys go. This is the press conference with Jasmine Eiland and her legal team. Thank you guys for watching. You're Talking Loud with Keish. Talk to you soon. Prayers for Jasmine.